morning. My name is Katie. Like Brian said, I currently attend the Erikson Institute. I'm in my final year, and I'm student teaching right now. I think I'm a great example of a technology convert. I definitely was slow to jump on board. I never would have thought 10 years ago that I would be up here speaking at a technology conference or even attending a technology conference. I studied fine arts in undergrad, painting specifically, and I took one computer class. Well, I signed up for one computer class, and after, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I was like, I need to be in my studio. I don't compute. And it wasn't until I was working with young children that my attitude and disposition towards technology really changed, and I began to see the possibility. I like to joke that I majored in creative problem solving, and I think technology is an excellent example of creative problem solving. I think it's a tool that teachers and parents can use to really show kids that anything is possible. If you want to learn about something, you can. You can literally learn about anything now. Like as an adult being at Erikson, I'm like, it's so easy to be a student. You can Google things, anything you wonder about. And as an educator of young children, I want my students to wonder, and I want them to think that anything is at their fingertips. So I can literally remember the moment that my attitude shifted, like completely flipped, I should say, when working with young kids. I was in a preschool classroom with Brian Perling, and the students were working on iPads on something, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't know about this. What are they really learning? They need to have some Play-Doh, play with some blocks, the traditional stuff.
They did.
And they did all that, don't get me wrong. Dream classroom. Still a dream classroom. And I pulled out Uno, and I was playing with a couple kids, and half the kids left the iPads just to come play, and it blew my mind, because for me, an iPad was this magical device that was so exciting, but to them, it's just an iPad. Like, they don't know life without iPads. It's just the norm. And that's when I really began to see technology as just another tool, just another great way that kids can access learning. A very wise preschooler once told me, Miss Blochowiak, we kids always want to play what you teachers are doing. So it was an eye-opener. I just have a few stories to share about different ways that I personally have used technology. We've talked a lot about iPads, which I love. But I'm really drawn to using technology with young children in ways that are social rather than solitary. I like to use digital recording devices, digital cameras, smart pens, video, like all of that to kind of enhance, especially like storytelling and like pre-literacy skills. Something I've worked a lot with in the preschool classroom, I led a storytelling group where my students would act out stories, write their own stories, and then act those out. So we did a lot with filming these stories, and I'd edit with iMovie, and then we'd have our movie premiere. And we could invite parents, they can walk the red carpet, and really celebrate their own stories or the stories that they love. Like we did a comparison. We acted out the 3 little pigs and then the 3 little wolves and the big bad pig. And this was exciting because in a 3 to 5 classroom, the students are at such varying levels. So seeing the younger students, seeing what the older students could do kind of opened up this world of pretend for them, which is really exciting for me. Another way we like to use video was how-to videos. And for example, at Burley, every year they have Explore More, which they turn the entire school into a museum. And every classroom studies another place. And our classroom was studying Australia, and a parent brought in a didgeridoo and taught the kids how to play it, and they all got to try it. So we had a few student volunteers model that, and we recorded a how-to video. So that way, when the whole school got to visit the room and walk through our museum, they could present this video, which it might be a little intimidating for a 3-year-old to like tell some adults they've never met how to do something. So it was a really great way to show their learning in an age-appropriate way. Another way that I like to use pictures is in telling social stories. In preschool, I like to call them preschool problems. Things like, don't forget to knock before you open the bathroom door. You know, major problem for some kids. You know, what's going on in there, and you know, we couldn't lock it. So we acted out how you're supposed to wait in line, and the kids really kind of broke down step by step that you knock, and then you listen and you wait for an answer. And they also acted out, you know, how the friend feels when you open the door, and they shouldn't have. So it was amazing to me, this, you know, we loaded this story kind of in the format of a slideshow on the iPad, and after a week, our little preschool problem of not respecting others' privacy was cured. Another story we made was we all joined the line after recess, which is pretty important. Entering the building, you need to make sure all your students are there, and we had a few runners. So working together and having the student take the photographs and think about the process and the steps and why it's important to all stick together in line really helped that student work through his need to stay out in the playground. In the home setting, I've also used a lot of technology. I didn't realize it, but I always use technology. As an artist, I did a lot of photography, and digital cameras, you know, the pictures are right there. You don't have to pile up the film, and it's this new freedom that kids can just snap away. And seeing their perspective from their view line is just very fascinating to me. They see the world very differently than adults. Some of my favorite things to do with cameras are go on adventure walks. And with kids that I worked with, we would go on like a penny walk, and we'd search for lucky pennies, and we would document that. Or a school bus hunt. I had a child who was very curious about a school bus, and we tracked one down, and the bus driver even let us on. It was pretty magical. But we took pictures of all that, and then what I saw was it really empowered the student as a storyteller, because we could frame by frame put together this story, and they could tell me the words. And you know, you can load these pictures in something like Sonic Pics, and the kid can record their story. And that was a nice way to give the child a voice and to share with the parent what was going on while they were at work. And then it also empowered the parent to know what was going on and know what to ask about. Because how many parents are like, oh, what did you do today? And nothing. So having those concrete moments that kind of built more of a connection into each other's lives. So like I said, I'm a convert, and I have enjoyed meeting all of you and learning from you. Thank you.
Will you stop that?